My husband said, "You're only useful when you're paying. Emotionally, you're a burden." I said, "Good to know." So I stopped funding his life and stopped adding to the emergency stash I'd created. No arguments, no explanations, just distance. 2 weeks later, when he opened that drawer and saw which part of the stash was gone, he froze. I'm Rachel, 35, and I've been married to Victor for 6 years. We met in our late 20s at a friend's wedding. Had that whirlwind romance everyone talks about. Got married within a year. For the first couple of years, things were good. Then they weren't. The shift was gradual enough that I didn't notice when us became me funding us, while he criticized everything I did. The comment that ended everything happened 3 weeks ago on a Wednesday night. I'd gotten home from work around 7 p.m., grabbed takeout on the way because Victor had texted saying he didn't feel like cooking. Normal enough. I work in corporate finance, make decent money, nothing extravagant, but comfortable. Victor had been between jobs for about 8 months. At that point, he'd quit his marketing position last year, saying it was toxic and draining his creativity. I walked in with Thai food, his favorite. He was on the couch scrolling through his phone. Didn't look up when I came in. "Got your usual," I said, setting the bags on the coffee table. "Thanks." That was it. No eye contact, no smile, just thanks. I went to the kitchen to grab plates and utensils. When I came back, he was taking photos of the food for Instagram. "How was your day?" I asked. "Fine." "Do anything interesting?" "Not really. Met Sam for coffee." Sam was his friend who'd also been between jobs for the past year. They spent a lot of time together lately, mostly at expensive cafes and boutique shops, from what I could tell from Victor's social media. We ate in silence for a bit. Then I made the mistake of trying to talk about something that had been bothering me. "Hey, so I was looking at our credit card statements. There were a few charges I didn't recognize, like this $300 one from that spa downtown." He barely looked up from his phone. "That was the facial Sam and I got last week. I told you about it." "You mentioned getting a facial. You didn't mention it was $300. "It's not that expensive. You're being dramatic." "Victor, we talked about budgeting. You haven't been working, and I'm covering all our expenses. $300 for a facial is a lot right now." He set down his phone and looked at me with this expression I'd been seeing more often lately. Annoyance mixed with contempt. "Here we go again. You and your money talk." "It's not money talk. It's reality. I'm paying for everything. Rent, groceries, utilities, your car insurance, your phone bill, all of it. The least you could do is check with me before spending $300 on non-essentials." Non-essentials? Self-care isn't non-essential, Rachel. But I wouldn't expect you to understand that. You don't understand anything emotional or personal. You just see everything as numbers. I see everything as numbers because someone has to. You're treating our shared account like it's infinite. Shared account. He laughed. Actually laughed. "It's your account that you graciously allow me to access. Let's be honest about what this is." "What are you talking about? We've always had joint finances." "Yeah, and you've always held it over my head. Every purchase, every expense, you make me feel guilty about it. Do you know how exhausting that is?" "I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. I'm trying to make sure we don't go broke. You're only useful when you're paying. You know that? Emotionally, you're a burden. You don't support me. You don't understand me. You just fund things and then complain about funding them." I sat there with my half-eaten pad thai, those words sinking in. Only useful when paying. Emotionally, a burden. "Good to know," I said quietly. "Don't do that. Don't go all silent and wounded. It's exhausting." I stood up, put my plate in the sink, and went to our bedroom. He didn't follow. I could hear his TV show starting up in the living room, volume loud enough to make a point. That night, I made some decisions. Thursday morning, I woke up early before Victor and went to the bank as soon as it opened. Here's something Victor didn't know. About 3 years into our marriage, I started putting money aside. Not hidden exactly, but in a separate savings account he wasn't aware of. Emergency fund, I told myself, in case something happened to my job or we had a crisis. Over 3 years, I'd saved $47,000. Money from bonuses, tax returns, the occasional overtime check. Money I could have spent on vacations or a nicer apartment or, frankly, anything else. But I'd saved because I was always worried about stability, about having a cushion. That morning, I moved $40,000 of that money into a new account. Different bank, only my name. Victor had no access. I left $7,000 in the original account, enough that if he ever found it, he'd think that was the whole emergency fund. But the real safety net was mine now. Then I went to work like it was a normal day. That evening, I came home and Victor was in a good mood. He'd made dinner. Actual homemade dinner, which he hadn't done in months. Hey, how was work? Fine, what's all this? I felt bad about last night. I was harsh, so I made your favorite, chicken parmesan. It was a nice gesture. Would have been nicer if I hadn't spent the day restructuring our entire financial life, but still, nice. We ate dinner. He talked about maybe taking a course to update his marketing skills. I nodded along. He mentioned needing a new laptop for the course. I said we'd see. After dinner, he went to take a bath. I pulled out my phone and made more changes. Called the credit card company and reduced his limit to $500. Called our car insurance and changed the payment method to my new account. Logged into every subscription we had, Netflix, Spotify, his fitness app, everything, and updated the payment info to come from my new account. Friday morning, I woke up, went to work, came home. Normal routine, except I wasn't adding any money to our joint account. I just left it with whatever was there. Victor didn't notice at first. He went out with Sam on Saturday, came back with shopping bags. Didn't mention it. I didn't ask. Sunday, I told him I was going to visit my sister for the day. He said fine. I actually did go see my sister. Told her everything. She'd never liked Victor, said he was high maintenance from day one. I defended him back then. Harder to defend someone who calls you an emotional burden. What are you going to do? My sister asked. Not sure yet, I said. But I'm done being an ATM with feelings he finds inconvenient. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday passed. Victor spent money. I said nothing. Our joint account was draining fast. He didn't check it. He never checked it. Just used the card whenever he wanted something. Thursday morning, 2 weeks after the only useful when paying comment, Victor's card declined at his favorite coffee shop. I know because he called me, furious. My card isn't working. Did you call the bank? I'm calling you. Can you fix it? I'm at work, Victor. Call the bank. Rachel, this is embarrassing. I'm standing here with Sam and the barista is waiting. Use a different card. I don't have a different card. Fix this. I can't fix it right now. I'm in a meeting. I hung up. I wasn't in a meeting. I was just done with emergency calls about his coffee money. He called the bank. They told him the account was low on funds. He came home that evening like a storm. Our account has $200 in it, he said. Why didn't you deposit your paycheck? I did. My paycheck is deposited. Then where is it? In my account. My account? Yeah, my personal account. The one for my paycheck. Since when do you have a personal account? We have joint finances. We did, now we don't. He stared at me. What the hell, Rachel? You said I'm only useful when I'm paying. You called me an emotional burden, so I'm removing the burden. Pay for your own things now. You can't be serious. I'm very serious. I'll pay my half of rent and utilities. Everything else, that's on you. I don't have a job. Then get one. You've had 8 months to find something. Figure it out. You're punishing me for being honest. I'm believing you. You said I'm only useful for money. Okay, no more money. Now you can figure out if I'm useful for anything else. He was shaking, actually shaking with rage. This is financial abuse. Financial abuse? I've been supporting you entirely for 8 months while you spend $300 on facials and buy clothes you don't need. I'm stopping that. That's not abuse. That's boundaries. You're my wife. And you're my husband who told me I'm an emotional burden and treated me like a credit card with a pulse. I'm done. Victor slept on the couch that night. The next morning, Friday, he was calmer but cold. We need to talk about this. We can talk, but I'm not changing my mind. What am I supposed to do for money? Get a job. I've been looking. Not hard enough. Sam doesn't work either. You two spend your days at cafes and shops. That's not job hunting. That's vacation. You're being cruel. I'm being done. That Friday evening after our fight, Victor went to his mother's house. Didn't tell me he was going, just left. His mom called me around 8 p.m. Rachel, what's going on? Victor is here crying, saying you cut him off financially. I didn't cut him off. I stopped funding his lifestyle while he's unemployed and treats me like an ATM. He's your husband. He's going through a hard time. He's been going through a hard time for 8 months while spending money we don't have on luxuries. I'm done enabling it. That's very cold, Rachel. Maybe, but it's honest. He told me I'm only useful for money, so I'm testing that theory. She tried to guilt me for another 10 minutes. I let her talk, didn't engage, eventually said I had to go. Victor stayed at his mom's through the weekend. Monday, he came back. Didn't apologize. Didn't try to talk. Just moved back in like nothing happened. But he was different, quieter. I caught him on his laptop several times, actually looking at job postings. Tuesday evening, he asked if I'd help him update his resume. First time he'd asked me for help with anything in months. I said yes. Helped him revise it. We worked on it for about an hour. It almost felt normal, almost felt like we were a team again. Wednesday, I came home to find him crying in the bedroom. He was holding something. It took me a second to realize what it was. The emergency cash. We'd always kept some cash hidden in the house. Started it years ago, both contributing. It was in an envelope in the back of my desk drawer. The plan was to have about $10,000 eventually for absolute emergencies. Last time I'd checked, there was about $8,500 in there. Victor was holding the envelope, counting it. "Why is there only $1,200 here?" he asked, voice shaking. "Ah, right, I'd forgotten about that." "Well, not forgotten," I continued calmly. "More like I didn't mention it because I took the rest." "When?" "Last week I moved it to my new account." "That was our emergency fund." "Was it? Because I'm the one who contributed most of it. You put in maybe $1,500 over the years. The rest was me. We said we'd both contribute. And then you stopped working and stopped contributing to anything, so I took what was mine." "You can't just take money that we agreed—" "Yes, I can. It was in my drawer in my desk, funded almost entirely by my income. I took it. It's in an account, only I can access now." He stood up, holding the envelope like evidence. "You've been planning this. The account change, the cash, all of it. You've been planning to leave me." "I've been planning to protect myself. There's a difference." "You're punishing me because I was honest about my feelings. I'm responding to you being honest about my value. You valued me for my wallet. Wallet's closed now. Let's see what else there is." He left the room. I heard him on the phone in the kitchen, voice low and angry, probably calling his mom again, or Sam, whoever would tell him I was the villain here. Thursday morning, I woke up to find he'd gone through my desk drawers, my closet, anywhere I might have hidden more money. He didn't find anything because there wasn't anything to find. Everything was in accounts he couldn't access. "Did you find what you were looking for?" I asked over coffee. "Go to hell, Rachel." That's what I thought. Friday evening, he had an interview. Actually got dressed professionally, did his hair, left the house with his resume. He was gone for about 2 hours. Came back looking tired but not defeated. "How did it go?" I asked. "Fine. It's a marketing coordinator position. Less than I was making before, but it's something." "That's good." "Don't patronize me." "I'm not. I genuinely think it's good." "You're forcing me to." "No, you need to. You've needed to for months." He didn't respond. Just went to the bedroom and closed the door. The next week was tense. Victor got called back for a second interview with the marketing place. He was nervous, asked me to look over his presentation. I did. We spent a couple of hours working on it together. He seemed grateful, which was new. He got the job and started the following Monday. The salary was about 60% of what he'd made before, but it was income. He came home that first day exhausted. "How was it?" I asked. "Exhausting. I forgot how draining office politics are." "You'll adjust." "Yeah." Things were weird but functional. He was working. I was working. We were polite to each other. Distant but polite. 2 weeks into his new job, he brought it up again. "I need access to money. My paychecks aren't enough to cover my expenses." "What expenses?" "My car, my phone, my life." "Victor, I can't survive on $2,800 a month." "Why not? That's more than a lot of people make." "Because I'm paying for everything now. Before you covered rent and utilities and groceries. Now I'm covering half of all that, plus my personal stuff." "Welcome to being an adult. You're being petty. I'm being fair. You wanted me to stop funding your lifestyle. I stopped. You're working now. Pay your share." "I can't afford it." "Then cut your expenses. Cancel your gym membership. Stop going to expensive cafes. Figure it out. You used to be kind. You know that. You used to care about me." "I cared about someone who cared about me. You told me I was an emotional burden. You told me I'm only useful for money. That person, I don't care about him." "I said that in anger." "You said that in truth. Anger just made you honest." He started crying. Not manipulation crying. Real crying. Ugly crying. He sat down on the couch and just broke down. "I'm sorry," he said between sobs. "I'm sorry I said that. I didn't mean it. I was frustrated and I took it out on you. I'm sorry." I sat down next to him. Not close, but near. "That's not the first time you've said something like that," I said. "You've been making comments for over a year about money, about me not understanding you, about me being too practical. It's been building." That comment was just the final one. "I know," he said. "I know I've been terrible. I was depressed about not working and I took it out on you. But I'm trying now. I got a job. I'm working. Can't we try to fix this?" "I don't know if I want to fix it." He looked at me, eyes red. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm not sure I want to be married to someone who sees me as an emotional burden and a paycheck. I don't know if there's anything left here worth fixing." We've been together 8 years, 6 married, 2 dating. Yeah, 8 years. And somewhere in there, you stopped being my partner and started being my dependent, an ungrateful dependent who resented the hand that fed him. That's not fair. When's the last time you did something nice for me? Not because you felt guilty or because you wanted something, but just because you thought I deserved it? He opened his mouth, then closed it. He couldn't answer. That's what I thought, I said. So that's it. We're done. Or at least, I don't know. I need time to figure out if I still want this. He went to bed crying. I stayed on the couch, staring at the ceiling, wondering how we got here. It's been 2 months since that conversation. Victor is still working, still living here. We're in this weird limbo where we're married but not really together. We split expenses 50-50. He's struggling financially, but managing. He had to sell his car and get something cheaper. Canceled a lot of his subscriptions. Actually budgets now. Last week, he asked if we could try couples counseling. I said maybe. We scheduled a first session for next month. We'll see how it goes. His mom called me last week. She actually apologized, said she'd talked to Victor and realized there was a lot more to the story than she'd heard. That's something. The $40,000 I moved is still in my personal account. Victor knows it exists now. He asked if I'd put it back into joint savings. I said no. He asked why. I said, because I don't trust you not to spend it. He asked when I'd trust him again. I said I didn't know. Sam stopped coming around. Victor told me they had a falling out because Sam kept encouraging him to leave me and find someone who'd treat him better. Apparently, treat him better meant funding his lifestyle without complaint. Victor finally saw through that. My sister asked me yesterday if I think we'll make it. I told her, I don't know. Some days Victor seems like the man I married. Funny, kind, considerate. Other days, he seems like the man who called me an emotional burden. I don't know which one is real. What I do know is that I'm not going back to being an ATM with feelings. I'm not going back to funding someone who resents me for it. If we rebuild this marriage, it'll be as equal partners or not at all. Victor keeps apologizing, keeps saying he understands why I did what I did, keeps promising he's changed. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. Time will tell. The emergency cash is still in my account. The shared finances are still split. He's still working at a job that pays less than he wants. And I'm still here, in this apartment, with a husband who might or might not see me as more than a paycheck. Now that the paycheck isn't flowing his direction, people ask if I regret how I handled it, if cutting him off was too harsh. I don't think so. He told me my value. I believed him. Then I removed that value to see what was left. Turns out not much. Maybe we'll rebuild something real. Maybe we won't. But at least now it's honest. At least now, when he says he wants to be with me, I'll know it's not because I'm paying his way. Some people ask why I'm staying, why I'm considering counseling instead of just divorcing. Fair question. The honest answer is that I'm not ready to give up 8 years without trying. The man I married is still in there somewhere. I saw glimpses of him when he was working on his resume, preparing for interviews, adjusting to his new job. The question is whether that man can coexist with the one who called me a burden, or if that comment was the real him showing through. Counseling will help answer that. If it doesn't work out, at least I'll know I tried everything. One last thing, because people seem confused about the emergency fund. Yes, we both contributed initially, but over the 3 years, I put in about $7,000, and he put in about $1,500. When I took $7,200, I was taking essentially what I'd contributed, plus a tiny bit extra. The $1,200 I left was approximately his contribution. So no, I didn't steal from him. I took what was mine and left what was his.